Imagine you're a roofing canvasser. You knock on the door, make the pitch, and after a few minutes, the homeowner gives you the most valuable answer in the whole process. Sure, I'd be open to a free inspection. That should be the easy part. But for a lot of home improvement companies, it isn't. Because now the canvasser has to pull out their phone, call the office, wait for someone in the call center to pick up, verify who they are, explain the situation, collect the homeowner's details, hand over the phone, and hope the office can turn that moment into a booked appointment before the energy dies on the doorstep. That is the real topic today. The real opportunity is smaller and more practical. Voice AI. It handles the handoff between the canvasser, the homeowner, and the scheduling system. The real opportunity is narrower and more believable. Voice AI automates the handoff layer between the canvasser, the homeowner, and the scheduling system. That framing matters because door-to-door canvassing is still very real in home improvement, especially in roofing and storm restoration. ServiceTitan's own guide on door-to-door roofing treats it as a legitimate face-to-face sales strategy that can generate booked inspections alongside digital and inbound channels. At the same time, platforms like SPOTIO and SalesRabbit show how operationalized this world has become. Territories, doors knocked, lead capture, status tracking, and movement from doorstep conversation into pipeline. So the workflow your contact described is not some weird edge case. It's basically the bridge between two systems. On one side, you have the field sales layer, the canvasser, the map, the route, the lead status, the territory logic. On the other side, you have the operations layer, CRM, scheduling, dispatch, and production. The handoff call is the moment those two worlds touch, and it is exactly where friction gets expensive. Here's why that bottleneck matters so much. The average inbound call in the US costs about $7.16, and ContactBabel reports speed to answer at 99 seconds. In a normal contact center discussion, that sounds like an efficiency problem. In canvassing, it is a conversion problem, because the lead is not sitting patiently at a desk. The lead is standing right there on the porch, deciding whether this company feels organized, feels trustworthy, and worth their time. And speed really does matter. The MIT Lead Response Management Study found that the odds of contacting a lead within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes dropped by 100 times, and the odds of qualifying that lead dropped by 21 times over the same interval. In this case, the lead is already present, which makes the lesson even more brutal. Every extra minute of lag weakens the moment you already earned. That is the thesis for the episode. Voice AI is valuable here when it reduces the time between yes at the door and booked in the calendar. So what does that workflow actually look like? A canvasser calls a dedicated number. The call routes to a voice AI agent. The agent verifies the canvasser through a PIN, caller ID, or token. It captures the minimum lead details: homeowner name, address, phone number, and maybe job type. Then the canvasser hands the phone to the homeowner. The voice agent confirms interest, asks a few qualifying questions, offers available time slots, books the inspection, and sends confirmation by text or email. That's it. And that's the point. This is not a deep emotional sales conversation. It is structured intake verification and scheduling, which is exactly the kind of short, repetitive, narrow conversation voice AI is best at. Now, the strongest way to position a platform like Leaping AI is not to pretend it replaces the entire stack. That sounds fake. The credible version is to make it the voice layer inside an existing architecture. SPOTIO already pitches itself as a tool that tracks leads from door knock to project start. SalesRabbit is built around canvassing and field visibility. JobNimbus offers open API for custom integrations. ServiceTitan Scheduling Pro is explicitly designed to let customers book jobs or booking requests through a configurable scheduler tied to job types, technicians, business units, and tags. In other words, the scheduling and CRM infrastructure already exists. The missing piece is often the live conversational layer that can keep momentum while the data gets handed off correctly. And this is also where Leaping AI feels native rather than forced. On its site, Leaping AI positioned itself around automating service calls, qualifying warm leads, and booking appointments around the clock. Its Thompson Creek case study in home remodeling focuses on inbound communications and appointment scheduling, with claims around lower cost structure and faster speed to lead. Even if you treat case study claims as directional, the fit is obvious. Home improvement is appointment heavy, and missed calls are missed revenue. Leaping AI is Most compelling here as the voice layer that turns a door knock lead into a booked appointment without forcing the canvasser to wait on a human rep. Now, what should the AI actually handle? It should handle identity verification, address confirmation, basic qualification scheduling, and confirmation messages. It should handle the predictable 80%. It should not pretend to do everything. If the homeowner gets skeptical, asks detailed pricing questions, wants to argue about materials, or becomes irritated, that call should transfer to a human. That failure logic is important because weak AI systems usually fail for one of two reasons. They over-automate or they escalate too late. So a good pilot needs crisp transfer rules. For example, transfer if the homeowner asks about price twice, expresses distrust, or requests a specific human. And when the transfer happens, the handoff needs context. Who the canvasser was, which address was captured, what the homeowner already confirmed, and what slot was offered. A blind transfer is a reset. A contextual transfer is leverage. That leads to the metrics that actually matter, not generic AI fluff, not number of conversations handled by the bot. Use operational KPIs. First, speed to appointment, how long it takes to go from doorstep interest to a booked slot. Second, appointment set rate, how many interested conversations become actual inspections. Third, containment or completion rate. What percentage of these handoffs calls the AI finishes without human intervention? Fourth, handoff quality. When a human does take over, did they get a usable context package? Then you layer in FCR and CSAT as stability indicators. Salesforce defines FCR as resolution on the first interaction. And Atlassian cites SQM research showing that even a 1% improvement in FCR tends to align with about 1% improvement in customer satisfaction. In canvassing terms, a failed first interaction often means one thing: you never booked the inspection. One more important angle makes this episode smarter: compliance. This is where people get sloppy when they start fantasizing about AI calling everyone automatically. That is not the clean use case. The safer and more defensible use case is the live handoff scenario, where the homeowner is already engaged around the call, is simply being used for verification and scheduling. The safer and more defensible use case is the live handoff scenario, where the homeowner is already engaged and the call is simply being used for verification and scheduling. That matters because US rules can come into play quickly. The FTC says certain door-to-door sales over $25 must include disclosures about the buyer's right to cancel within 3 business days under the cooling off rule. For covered telemarketing, the FTC also says call lists must be scrubbed against the National Do Not Call Registry at least every 31 days. And in February 2024, the FCC clarified that AI-generated voices count as artificial under robocall protections, which means outbound AI voice calling can trigger the TCPA-related consent and compliance requirements. So the smart take is not AI should blast homeowners. The smart take is AI should compress the admin layer after interest already exists. That is a much better episode. It is more grounded, it is more defensible, and frankly, it is more useful. Because the real promise here is not some sci-fi fantasy. It is operational throughput. Faster answer, cleaner intake, fewer drop leads, more booked inspections. That is the whole trick. So if you're evaluating voice AI for home improvement, canvassing, judge it with one question. Does it reduce the time between a homeowner saying yes at the door and appointment appearing in the calendar? If it does, then it is not just AI for call centers. It is a conversion tool sitting at the exact point where momentum usually leaks away. And that is where Leaping AI fits best. Not as a replacement for the canvasser, not as a replacement for the CRM, but as the voice layer that keeps the handoff alive. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.